YouTube.com, Miata tutorials. No new tutorials. What happened to that dude that used to do the Miata videos, bruh? Well, I'll tell you what happened. I was working on my latest video, see, and the Miata gods showed up. They struck me down. Told me I can't represent Miatas with a hairdo like that. Said I was a disgrace to hairdressers around the world. So they brought me back to their headquarters. Supercuts, they called it. Strapped me down to their table, and they gave me this. It's permanently like this forever. They said I can resume my regularly scheduled programming now. So I'm back, ready for action. I have some dyno sheets to show you from my dyno tune with the new turbo, and I got some sweet autocross footage with the new turbo that's going to demonstrate just how big of a difference that thing is making. And aside from that, back to our regular tutorials. Hope you're ready. See ya. So here's me on the dyno. Yeah, you smile now. It's all fun and games until the boost comes on. I can't tell what's more stressed in this clip, me or my stock internals. And breathe. So this is an overlay of the old turbo versus the new one. In case you were not aware of the major changes that I made, one obviously was the turbo. I switched from 91 octane to E85, and I upgraded to the LS2 truck coils. So peak gains, 18 wheel horsepower, 16 pound-feet of torque at the wheels, nothing monumental. But let me point out here where the turbos are spooling up. The old one spooled up at 4350 is where it would hit peak boost, and the new one 3750, a difference of 600 RPM. Doesn't sound like a huge difference, but later in the autocross clip, you'll see how important that 600 RPM really is. Let me zoom in here to the first half of this graph, and you might be thinking, well, the car probably doesn't feel that much faster, only 16 pound-feet of torque. But down here at 3750 RPM was the biggest gain. The old turbo made 158 pound-feet of torque. The new one is making 223 for a net gain of 65 pound-feet of torque at the wheels. That's almost a 50% gain at 3750. So that's where you really get the punchy feeling from this turbo, and it's really just a lot more active, and the boost comes on a lot faster. Another thing I want to point out is the more linear power gain of the ball bearing turbo. It's not quite like a naturally aspirated torque curve, but a lot closer. You see the old turbo, it almost completely flattens out around 3000 RPM, and it's just not, the turbo is not active below 4000 RPM. It's just really sluggish. The last thing I want to point out is up on top how smooth the power is in comparison to the old setup. You see it's a lot more turbulent power curve. It still makes good power, but it's not as smooth, and that's mostly due to the ignition system. You can see the slight misfires it's having up on top in comparison to the LS2 coils, which are just monumentally more powerful than the stock 1.6 liter ignition. So here I am staging for one of my laps last week, and the biggest thing I want you to try to pay attention to is the amount of time that you actually get to use your full power during an autocross lap and how short the straightaways are, and it will really show you how important it is to have a turbo that spools up very fast so you can actually utilize how much power the car can make.
Class X, car number 55, Calvin Ford with an 86. Car number 45. Class TM, car number 45, Rachel with an 81.735 and 2 codes. Next up, Class X, car number 188, Greg Peters in his Turbo Miata.
Guys, that's all I have for you this time. Thank you for checking it out. I will see you next week. I don't know what I'm going to be installing yet, but it'll be something cool, and we're going to have fun doing it, so I'll see you there.